So Lizzo says the Bible is fake. She actually said that the Bible is a historical document, but that's kind of confusing for you to go on and say that it's fake, but you believe that it's a historical document. Because last time I checked, I thought that something that was a historical document or is a historical document is pretty much true and a given thing, right? But you're saying that it's historical, but it's not factual. That doesn't make any sense. Usually, things that are historical mean, when you say the word historical document, like a historical document is the Declaration of Independence, right? It's a old document. It's historical. It's written about in history, and people actually signed it as a historical document that was actually real, of a moment that actually happened, right? Bill of Rights, the Constitution, all that stuff actually happened, right? So when you put the Bible, in other words, which I believe it is a historical document, when you put the Bible in that conversation, that means when you say those type of words, that must mean that it actually happened.
I read the entire Bible front to back. All these people don't realize exactly. Let them know that I sing gospel music, honey.
No, you don't.
Not the exact genre, but the Bible to me is a historical document. Why would y'all put this on me right now? Not while I'm talking about the Bible. The Bible is a historical document. And especially in the Old Testament, there's a lot of genealogy and there's a lot of, historical events that are documented. The New Testament are books written by prophets. You know what I mean? And they found these scrolls and brought them together and made one document, one book. But the book is made up of a lot of people's interpretations of history, metaphors, especially in the New Testament. The Old Testament is a lot of genealogical and historical documentation. This New Testament is a lot of people's personal accounts, prophets, followers of Christ. And they took all of these books and they made one book, the Bible. So I read the Bible intellectually.
That she reads the Bible intellectually, and basically, she never said it lacks. It's saying up there above is saying that it lacks factual accuracy, which that's what I'm guessing later on the thing she kind of said, but she didn't really allude to it. She didn't really say the words, but she alluded to basically saying that she thought that the Bible was a historical document, basically saying that it wasn't real. But she was using the wrong wording, because if you think something's historical, talking about historical events and genealogies, but if it talks about if you use the term historical event, that must mean that the events actually occurred. So she's using the wrong words if she's trying to slam the Bible, but she's basically saying that she didn't believe the Bible was real, and that she reads the Bible intellectually, and that the Bible was just all of these things, but it's just not like it, and it's just like, really, Lizzo. She is saying all of this to then say that, hey, it's this, but it's not that. But she's using the wrong words, because last time I checked, I thought historical meant legitimate, but she's trying to say it in a way that it's not legitimate, but it's historical or whatever, like it's fake, and it's just and she reads it intellectual. So let's go back through it, because there's a number of things that I wanted to kind of point out.
I read the entire Bible front to back.
It's amazing how you can read the Bible front to back, but it does not change you a lot. But you have to read it with faith, right? You have to read the Bible with faith. You can't just read the Bible. Plenty of people are reading the Bible and studying the Bible, and they're not reading it with faith. They're reading it looking for something, and they're not going to find it. It's not going to change them, because they're not mixing the word with faith like the Bible says.
All these people don't realize exactly. Let them know that I sing gospel music, honey.
No, you don't. And then she corrects
Not
herself.
the exact genre, but
Like, what is gospel music without gospel? Like, it's like not the exact genre, but I sing gospel music. No, you don't. Gospel music has to deal with the genre, talking about Christianity, talking about the good news of Jesus Christ. You don't sing gospel. Never once have you.
Especially in the Old Testament, there's a lot of genealogy and there's a lot of, you know, historical events that are.
So she says the Bible, the Old Testament. She starts first with the Old Testament. Says the Old Testament has a lot of genealogies and historical events, which it does. I wouldn't say a lot of there's genealogical stuff in there, but it's definitely a lot of historical events of real live, like legitimate people. Like you can do a Google search and see artifacts, see archaeology, see places. I forget what the word called. It's like a stela. It's called a stela. Some of you guys who watch Frank Turek would know what a stela is, but he showed like stelas of like ancient Egypt times, and the writings on the stelas were telling stories about biblical characters, right? Biblical people who existed during that time, right? So they found chariot wheels at the bottom of the sea, of the Red Sea, with barnacles on them, right? So like there's a bunch of, and then too, their tomb sites, right? All these legitimate people that existed in the Old Testament. There's tombs. There's tombs for the people from the New Testament. There's actual tombs where these people's bodies were resting, right? That have turned into whole historical sites, right? Like so, like her saying like it's historical and she's trying to discredit the Bible. She's actually proving it to be true, but she's butchering like talking about it, because it's like no, the fact that there's historical documentation, it's a historical document, and there's actual historical events, and these actual and the genealogies that are in there telling of actual people. These people actually existed. So if these people actually existed, then the Bible is not um just something to be read on an intellectual level. It's actual truth.
Documented. The New Testament are books written by prophets. You know what I mean?
And then she says the New Testament is filled up of books written by prophets. And the last time that I checked, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but the last prophet to write a book of the Bible. Now there's prophetic books. Revelation is a prophetic book, right? But there are prophetic books and prophetic verses. But the last book that was written by a prophet was Malachi, in the Old Testament. The entire New Testament is written by the apostles. The entire New Testament is written by the apostles, right? People who walk with Jesus. The entire New Testament is written with that. Those people were not prophets. Those people were people who were inspired by God to write the New Testament. And she says, like, goes on later talking about like the interpretation, different interpretations or whatever. Yes, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John are written by four apostles who seen and walked with the risen Jesus, and they each give a different account. Same stories. Some stories are in other gospels that aren't in other gospels, but they're giving the same accounts. And I don't think all of them are written at the same time. I believe John was written last. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. I believe John was written last, but they were all about I believe so, but correct me if I'm wrong. But all of them were written by apostles. None of them were claimed to be prophets. So she has that wrong.
So I read the Bible intellectually.
And then she ends it and she says she reads the Bible intellectually. And she, in fact, does not read the Bible intellectually, because if she read it intellectually, then she'd be saved and she'd know the historicity of the text that she's claiming to know, and saying that the Bible isn't factual, and trying to allude to the fact that it's written by all these things and it was put together, and it's for people who are followers of Christ, all the stuff like that. She's just trying to plead the case, as it were, for it not being a true book. But she doesn't in fact read the Bible intellectually. She reads the Bible esoterically and metaphysically, right? Now, let me break down what do I mean when I say that. So, there's this book that I bought few months back called Scripture Twisting 20 Ways the Cults Misread the Bible by James Sire, right? Excellent book. I got a lot of biblical interpretation books. I think I showed this in my books I'm reading this year. But in this book, reason why I bought this book was really for one of the main reasons I bought this book is because in this book he talks about a interpretation, talking about 20 ways cults misread the Bible, and one of the 20 ways, the 17th way, is with a esoteric interpretation. To you, a little bit about what an esoteric interpretation is, right? It says two separate but related strains in the esoteric tradition concern us. The first is the notion that the Bible and many other religious and non-religious texts contains a secret, hidden inner meaning that can only be spiritually discerned, what I call the esoteric interpretation. Then on the next page, it says esoteric interpretation assumes that the Bible does not mean what it says on the surface. The sole reason why she is um the sole reason why she is reading this book is not, she says she reads the Bible intellectually. What other reason do you have to read the Bible if you're not a follower of Jesus? If you're not a follower of Jesus or wanting to be a follower of Jesus, you might be a skeptic trying to not be a skeptic anymore. But she says she reads, which is plural, meaning she's didn't just read it once. She reads the Bible intellectually. She does not read the Bible intellectually. She reads it esoterically. She's looking for a deeper meaning. Because what other reason are you looking at the Bible for? You say you read it intellectually. What other reason are you looking at the Bible for? Because you don't believe it. If you don't believe it and it's not real to you and it's surface level, it talks about these things and it's a historical document and you're basically trying to allude to it not being true, then what reason are you reading it other than to try to look beyond the surface? So the books talks about that, and it says the esoteric interpretation is when you're trying to read beyond the text, right? The beyond what's on the surface. And that's essentially what I believe that she's doing. If she's saying she reads the Bible intellectually, she's not reading the Bible intellectually, because what do you have to learn from the Bible if you're not a follower of Jesus? You're trying to see beyond the surface. You don't believe that Jesus actually existed or if Jesus was actually real. You're concerned with what's the hidden meaning. That's what she means by intellectual. My take. What's the hidden meaning? What's behind the surface? Why do they write it this way? And there's a plethora of other people out there, and there's some Christians who operate in that. And that's another reason why I said metaphysically. So there's another interpretation called metaphysical interpretation, where you are reading but beneath the surface and you are ascribing a certain type of meaning to certain verses in the Bible. So at the end of the day, y'all, please don't trust what these celebrities are saying about Jesus and the Bible. Please do your own research and look things up for yourself. I guarantee you there's a lot of cool and dope things that are out there that prove the historicity and the truth of the Bible, that it is factual and it is historical and it is real, and it's not historical in the sense that it's ancient make believe, but it's historical in the sense that it is ancient, powerful, and living. So if you enjoyed this video, be sure to drop me a like, subscribe, give me a comment, let me know what you think about this video, and be sure to stay tuned for many more videos that we got going on. Thank you guys for watching. See you soon. Peace.